In Sunday's loss, he went 0 for 5 on third down, took 2 sacks. The Dolphins came just the second team this season to go 0 for 7 or worse on third down. Definitely not Tua's best day, but Dan, what went wrong for him on Sunday?
There's a difference between inaccurate and maybe a little uncharacteristic miss, or like trying to make difficult throws and having the yips.
Okay.
I think the tape tells a lot, right? This is the slot up top to Waddle. Does Waddle drift a little bit of a yard there? Is that a miss on Tua, or is that a tough throw in a tight window? Bottom of the screen, Waddle on another deep crosser. This is a big-time throw. Look at Fred Warner's depth. Is that a miss? I mean, could Waddle make a difficult catch? Absolutely. Is that ball 6 inches off, 30 yards downfield? Sure. Another one down to the bottom of the screen where he's trying to throw a high corner as he's getting hit by Bosa. That's 30 yards across the field. Is that a foot off? Yeah, I don't find that as an inaccurate throw. Like, look at this throw. Like this, that's a walking touchdown. If the back makes a little bit more of a different adjustment, but I don't look at those as like, I've heard a lot of people saying, and this is why I wanted to have this conversation.
We are not gonna fight.
I think this is because vantage point matters.
When you watch these kind of clips and you see these former NFL players talk, it's just a joust. Of course they can see what's going on. They understand the game. Notice the host, she stays out of it because she has nothing to offer this conversation. You got Dan Orlovsky, who's a former quarterback. He's telling you the reads that Tua was making, they weren't that far off.
I don't find those as inaccurate throws. Are they misses? Sure. But there's a big difference between I'm missing the out route and I skip it into the ground, or he's trying to throw 30-yard crossing routes or rip corner shots as he's getting hit and the ball's a foot off.
It's not really all about missing. It's about how you're approaching your misses. And when I looked at this game, I said, Tua pressing. Tua want to be perfect on every throw he throws. That's what I thought.
I don't disagree with that.
I thought that got in the way of what we've talked about the last 5 weeks. The dude with the best QBR, the dude who we said his superpower is his accuracy and putting the ball in areas where most quarterbacks can't, especially on those short intermediate routes. That one you showed to the back, Tua hit that for a touchdown 5 weeks in a row.
Tua Tagovailoa was off.
He was bad.
He missed. He wasn't good. And the thing that we're not going to do today is kill him, because it's one game.
No.
But when you look at this game, and when Marcus says that the game was too big for him, it's not a knock on Tua to say that he's not good enough to elevate in this game. It's saying that he understood what this game meant for him. That I've been so good this entire season. People are now talking about me as an MVP. Mike McDaniel has empowered me. Here's the week where all questions stop. You know it, Marcus knows it, Laura knows it. If he went crazy against the San Francisco 49ers, you could have gave him a deal on Monday and made him the highest paid quarterback in the league, and we wouldn't have questioned
been the front runner for the MVP.
Exactly.
If he would have did what he's been doing against San Francisco, he'd be the front runner for the MVP right now.
If you look at the film, yes, there were some missed reads. Yes, there were some missed passes. That's not even up for debate. But the reason why people are coming down on him, it isn't because he's played terribly, it's because he's played well. They're comparing what he did against the 49ers with his body of work the rest of the year. That's what people aren't understanding. Yeah, Stephen A can spout all the crap he wants to, but when you look at the film, when you actually see what happens, you're comparing not a shitty quarterback. You're not comparing him to Jacoby Brissett. You're not comparing him to Taylor Heineke. You're comparing Tua's performance to Tua. That's the difference. So when you see the pundits on TV talk who actually know what they're talking about, they're comparing Tua to Tua.
My pushback to that, because I hear you guys say he was off and he was not good. And that's where I disagree. And that's why I think tape matters, because categorizing a quarterback as being off is like he just don't got his stuff today. Missing 30-yard crossing routes, trying to throw it over defenders by 6 inches, that's a miss.
Dan, that's what you get paid to do.
But not even that. It's what we've been watching them do.
But Mark,
the reason why we are having the conversation about Tua is because we've seen him do those things. So you're saying
that he does it every single week, and that's why we've been so happy about it.
There's no reason to panic. People on Twitter, just stop. Stop with the insanity. Things are going to be okay. I'm not saying that we're going to win playoff games or win the Super Bowl, but things are going to be okay. Let's first start with the injury to Tua Tagovailoa and the injury to Teron Armstead. Mike McDaniel addressed the media and he said both Teron Armstead and Tua are going to be okay. In fact, he completely dismissed any problem with Tua playing this weekend, and he's optimistic about Teron Armstead playing this weekend. From the Miami Herald, let's check out what he said. Dolphins coach Mike McDaniel said in the interview that he anticipates quarterback Tua Tagovailoa playing on Sunday amid an ankle injury. And he also said that Teron Armstead is optimistic that he'll be able to play Sunday at the Chargers as well. Tua's injury isn't expected to force him to miss any time. McDaniel said he'll be mindful of what Tua does in practice beginning today. So everybody, chill. There's no reason to worry. There's no reason to hit the panic button. I expect this from the national media. I just don't expect it from Miami Dolphins fans. I expect the media to do anything they can to denigrate Tua Tagovailoa. It's what they do. That's what they get paid to do. They get paid very well to spout BS hot takes all the time about Tua Tagovailoa. But if there's anything that we've all learned over the last couple of years, is that the media is entertainment. There's hardly any truth in the media anymore. So why do you put credence into what they say? It's most assuredly not news. Stephen A. Smith is a clown, and people watch Stephen A. Smith because he's a clown. They don't watch him for a news story. He's there to entertain people. I respect his game. He's very good at what he does. But it's not news. Trust me, it's not easy to sit in front of a camera and talk to an audience and command every word that you say and get them to come back and watch again and again. Especially if you do like he does, where he's often live doing his show. I know all about the pitfalls of going live. Even last night, I did a live video. I hit the wrong button on my keyboard here, and my mic went out for about 3 minutes. So I salute him for as good as he is at what he does. But it's not news. And I even applaud his nauseating success. And as I said, I fully understand the hot take strategy. And I fully expect it from people like Stephen A. Smith. What I don't understand is the absolute insanity that affects a good portion of the Miami Dolphins fan base. I don't get comments from people who just dislike Tua. I get comments from people who loathe Tua and then say they're Miami Dolphins fans. As we approach this game this Sunday night on primetime against the Chargers, there are actually people out there hitting the panic button. There are actually people out there saying we should trade for another quarterback. They keep saying we won't make the playoffs with Tua Tagovailoa as quarterback for the Miami Dolphins. And they're mad because the Dolphins didn't draft a surefire playoff-ready quarterback like Justin Herbert. Yeah, they've actually said that. On July 7th, 5 months ago, to this day, exactly 5 months to this day, I produced a video showing people just how insane they are for thinking that there are other quarterbacks out there available that are better than Tua. And they think that some of these quarterbacks have the path to the playoffs. It's amusing to say the least. Here's a segment from that video.
Let's see. This is Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson has been in the league a couple years, and Zach Wilson hasn't won a single playoff game. This is Drew Lock. Drew Lock has been in the NFL a couple seasons. He hasn't won a single playoff game. This is Jameis Winston. He's been in the league for quite a while. Hasn't won a single playoff game. This is Derek Carr. He's been a starter for quite a while. Hasn't won a single playoff game. Not one. Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz has played for, the Eagles. He's played for the Colts, and now he's with the Washington Commanders. He hasn't won a single playoff game. I include Geno Smith here because he may or may not be a starter at the beginning of the year. But in any event, Geno Smith has been in the league for a number of years. Played for a number of teams. Guess what? Hasn't won a single playoff game. The much heralded quarterback out of Ohio State, Justin Fields, he's played in the league a couple years, and guess what? Hasn't won a playoff game. Ooh, here's one for you. Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray's been playing since he came out of Oklahoma a few years ago. Guess what? He's never won a playoff game. And of course, Mac Jones, that we know came out of Alabama as well, playing up there with Bill Belichick, but he hasn't won a playoff game either. Sam Darnold played in the league a couple years, not sure where he's headed at this point. Jets, Carolina Panthers, and guess what? Not a single playoff victory as he won either. Danny Dimes Jones. plays for the New York Giants, been there a few years. Guess what? He hasn't won a playoff game either. And then, of course, everyone that compares Tua's place in the draft to Justin Herbert's place in the draft knows very well, or should know, that Justin Herbert hasn't won any playoff games either. There you have it. None. None of the quarterbacks that you just saw have won a single playoff game in their career. None. But do you hear the media moaning and deriding those quarterbacks the way they get on Tua? Nope. Why is that?
And since that video was made, there's been a couple other starters in the NFL who played for quite some time who haven't won a playoff game. That being Jacoby Brissett, Taylor Heineke for the Commanders, and of course, Andy Dalton for the New Orleans Saints. And that doesn't even include veteran bench riders like Trey Lance and Jordan Love. Nearly half of the starting quarterbacks in the NFL have never won a playoff game. But yet you don't see the media tearing those quarterbacks apart. They're going after Tua. And I don't understand why the Miami Dolphins fan base goes after Tua if they know this information, but it's likely they don't. At some point, some of the fans who are against Tua need to really wake up, need to take a big bite of the reality apple. You're being played and you're playing yourselves. Whether it's for clicks or attention, you're actually being quite ignorant, and we all can see it. And either way, it's not a good look for you. Me, I've seen the data. I've done the research. I've watched the films. Tua Tagovailoa has got the goods. He is that guy. Yes, we faced some adversity this year with Tua at the helm. He got hurt. We've had injuries on the offensive line. But you know what? I'm still riding with Tua Tagovailoa. What about you? But as always, I could be wrong. I could be way off base. Let me know what you think in the comments and if you're still going to be riding with Tua Tagovailoa. Don't hit the panic button. Everything's okay. Fins up.
Is anybody catching on to this Barry guy?